this is Alan Coyle from Morrison Container Handling Solutions, and today for a tech tip we're going to talk about the torque adjustment on a mechanical overload clutch. This type of mechanical overload clutch is supplied on a majority of Morrison custom drive assemblies. Prior to doing an adjustment on the clutch, you will need to remove the clutch subassembly itself. The clutch subassembly can be configured in a variety of ways, but the most common is a clutch kickout plate, the clutch itself, and a clutch adapter. A little bit of background information on the overload clutch itself is that it can be mounted in a variety of different variations. It can be mounted via the housing, which is what is shown here, but it can also be mounted via a shaft input, as shown below. What's critical is as you disassemble this, that you keep track of the direction of the arrows in relation to the housing itself. The clutch has a minimum and maximum torque range. For example, this clutch, which is the most common, has a 75 to 150 inch-pound rating. All the clutches are tested at Morrison on their associated drive assemblies prior to shipping, but when out in the field at other time they may need to be adjusted. This adjustment is done through the use of screws that are on the clutch itself. There's two types of screws on the clutch. There is a Phillips or a plus screw, which is strictly just a plug and has no effect on torque adjustment. Then there is the flat blade or minus screw, which does actual adjustment to the torque. When you insert the screws, it reduces torque capacity. When you remove the screws, this increases torque capacity. Another note is to only use the factory screws supplied with the clutch. So for this application, if we want to increase the torque setting, because it's housing driven, we know we have to access the minus screws. You can tell from this end that only the plus screws are shown, so we must disassemble by removing the clutch adapter to expose the minus screws. Tools needed are a flat blade screwdriver, an Allen wrench, and possibly a Phillips screwdriver if needed. Begin by removing the socket head cap screws that fasten the clutch adapter to the clutch itself. At this point, you can see that the minus screws are exposed. So if we're going to increase the torque capacity, we're going to remove one of these screws. Depending on the application and the adjustment required, you may have to remove more than one of these, but you won't know without reassembling and trying the system to see how it performs. The screw is removed, and now you can go ahead and reassemble opposite how it was disassembled. For additional information, please refer to the overload clutch section of the operation manual that was supplied with your system.